Hey guys, so your next project is going to be creating an All About Me project in Google Slides. This is my example of my All About Me project. So I'm going to go through this with you, and along the way, this is kind of your chance to learn a little bit more about me. Everything in here is 100% true. So, first of all, I am 30 years old. My birthday is on September 10th, 1985. I am almost 31 years old. I will be 31 in September. I'm originally from St. Louis. I went to college at Maryville University. After that, I went to law school at Tulane in New Orleans. At Maryville, I studied history and environmental science, and at Tulane, I focused on environmental law and intellectual property law. I do have my law degree. Law school was very hard, but I graduated in May of 2010. I am not a lawyer. To be a lawyer, I have to take another test called the bar exam, and I have never taken that test. I don't really want to be a lawyer. I'm happy teaching. But yeah, I'm really proud of myself that I graduated from law school. It was one of the most challenging times in my life, and it's one of my biggest accomplishments. After law school, I decided to start teaching middle school. I'm starting my 7th year as a teacher, and I absolutely love my job. And the reason I love my job is because I get to hang out and be around people like you, kids like you, and I get to see you learn and watch you grow. And it's really just an incredible day to day life. I really do have the best job. So my family, I have one brother, Mike. He is my absolute best friend. We're extremely close. He's married to a wonderful woman named Tria, who is also a close friend of mine. In that picture there, that's my mom and the two of us. And then the one with me in the wedding dress, he actually was my man of honor at my wedding. So he was the one who stood up for me. He walked me down the aisle. It's like a lot of girls have a maid of honor, but he is the closest person in my life. So he was my man of honor. And I was his best man, or best not man, is like I like to call it, at his wedding. So I am married. I got married to a wonderful man named Tommy on May 24th, 2015. So we've been married for just over a year now. Tommy's incredible. He's just the nicest, sweetest, kindest, good hearted person I've ever met in my entire life. Oh, and I used to have long hair. You can see that in that picture. I love to travel, so it's really like a passion of mine. I have been to 13 different countries now, and I'm already thinking about when I can go to my next country. I don't know where I'd want to go yet. Maybe Peru in South America, maybe Switzerland, definitely Japan and Thailand. I'd love to see. There's just everywhere. I want to go to South Africa. I want to go all over the world. Tommy and I went to Fiji and New Zealand for our honeymoon. So here's some pictures of me traveling. There we go. Let's see here. The one all the way on the left is me when I was in Italy. I was 21 years old. After college, I spent a month traveling around Europe and backpacking around Europe and staying in hostels. The one on all the way right is Tommy and I while we were on our honeymoon. That was in Fiji. We hiked to a waterfall, and then we actually got to go swim in that little pool that the waterfall created. And the one in the middle is me in New Zealand. We took a boat to an island and got to explore an island in New Zealand. I also like to travel alone. This summer, I took a solo trip and went to the Grand Canyon. It was the one of the most incredible trips I've ever taken. Just being there in that national park that's just so vast and open and old and just it's incredible. I hiked one day. I hiked about halfway down to the river. So there's a river that runs in the bottom of the Grand Canyon. It took me about 2 hours to get down and about 4 hours to get back up. It was one of the most challenging and physically demanding things I've ever done in my life. And I am someone who likes to push themselves to the max physically. So that's saying something, but it was incredible. Tommy was actually supposed to go with me. It was a road trip. I drove out there. It took me 2 days to drive out there and 2 days to drive back. Tommy was supposed to go with me, but he couldn't get off work. So I said, whatever, I'm going by myself. And it was incredible. We also had a really great trip to Idaho this summer to celebrate my grandpa's 80th birthday. Most people don't think of Idaho being this incredibly beautiful place, but it is. So these are just a couple of pictures from Idaho. Definitely got to do some good hiking there too. When I'm not traveling and teaching, I like to play volleyball and run. I run all the time. Tommy, Mike, and I ran a marathon in 2013. We actually so a marathon is 26.2 miles. It'd be like running from here out to the St. Louis Mills Mall or the airport. It took us about 5 hours to run, and that's a picture of us on the right there crossing the finish line. The left is me playing volleyball, and then the middle is me and Ms. Downs went for a run this summer when it was really, really, really hot out, and we had a great time. Ms. Schoenberg, Ms. Oren was in there too, but she wasn't really feeling up to taking a picture after our run. So last year while I was running in 2015, April of 2015, I was hit by a mail truck. I was injured really badly. This is a picture of my scar with all the tape on it. So the tape is like to make sure it's not swollen. So now I am really super careful when I cross the street. That's a picture of the injury a couple days after it happened. You can see how much more swollen my bad leg is. So if I ever get anxious with you guys crossing the street, it's because I'm legitimately I have nightmares about my students getting hit by cars. It was one of the most traumatic experiences of my life, and I don't want it to happen to any of you guys. Tommy and I have 3 pets. So we have a dog named Moon, and Moon is this little guy here, the little orange guy. He is 13 years old. He is my baby. I've had him forever, and I absolutely love him and adore him, and I totally baby him all the time. We have a cat named Mad Eye Moody. He only has one eye. His other eye had to be removed because he was sick, and if the infection spread, he could have died, so they had to take the eye out. So his eyelid is actually sewn shut, so it looks like he's winking at you all the time. And then we just adopted a puppy this summer. His name is Alexander Hamilton, and that is what he responds to. The picture all the way on the left there is the first day we got him. If you guys know, there's an organization that rescues stray animals. It's called Stray Rescue. They have this big shelter downtown, which is right by where I live, and their power went out this summer, and it was 100 degrees, and they didn't have any air conditioning, and they were worried that these, dogs that they had at their shelter weren't going to make it. So they asked for people just to take them overnight until their air conditioning came back on. Well, I went down to go get one because it was summer vacation and I didn't have anything to do. And they gave us Alexander Hamilton, and Tommy especially, but me too, just absolutely fell in love with him. So we went ahead and adopted him. So the one on the left, we actually didn't even know that we were going to adopt him at that time when I took that picture. The one in the middle is him being a goofball and sleeping. He just sleeps like with his arms straight up sometimes. And the one on the right was when we were watching the Olympics this summer. I'm a huge fan of the Olympics. P.S. Simone Biles. Oh my God. So my favorite foods, my favorite kind of food is Mexican food. I especially like bean burritos. If you ever ask me about food, I am a vegan, which means that I don't eat anything that comes from an animal. It started as kind of like just a challenge to myself. I'm always challenging myself to do new things and try things that I didn't think I could do in the past. And I really like the way that I feel. I like the fact that I'm not using another living being for my own comfort and my own satisfaction. So I don't eat anything that comes from an animal. I don't eat any cheese. I don't drink any milk. Everything I eat comes from plants. I don't eat any butter. Nothing that comes from animals. Eggs. I don't eat any eggs. It's difficult, but for me, it's worth it just because like I said, I like all the other benefits from it. And I am a huge Cardinals fan. This is my last slide. Yadier Molina is my absolute favorite player in the whole world. I have little action figure of him up on my desk, and I keep meaning to bring it up here. I have another bobblehead I need to bring up. Just a huge, huge, huge Cardinals fan. If you ever want to talk about the Cardinals, I am more than happy to discuss it. So that's a little bit about me. You guys are going to create a presentation very, very similar to this and tell me a little bit more about you. And then if we have time, we're actually going to present them to the class. Okay? So enjoy.